welcome everybody to this panel today. It's a pleasure to moderate this conversation today. My name is Lorenzo Ciari. I am Director for Impact at EBRD. Today we'll discuss about the role of civil society as a catalyst for impact in this highly volatile world. We'll hear about the experience of EBRD and other civil society organizations in Ukraine, and then we'll have a conversation about lessons learned and how we can actually measure success when engaging with civil society. Before I introduce my excellent panel, just a couple of technical remarks. You will see now a Slido application page. This is for Q&A. We'll try to have, of course, questions from the audience after first round of talk with the panelists, and we'll use Slido to collect questions online. Now let me move to the panelist introduction, starting from Nadia Petkova, sitting on my left. I shouldn't be reading, as Nadia is my manager, but just to be safe, Nadia is Managing Director for Impact and Partnership at EBRD. She's been Managing Director since July 2024, and her remit includes impact, civil society, engagement, donor partnership, nuclear safety, and the Ukraine Hub, created in 2021. And prior to this, she was director of the SME Finance and Development Regional Network, and she's been also leading the agribusiness banking team, agribusiness banking activities of EBRD in Turkey and the Caucasus. Welcome, Nadia. Then we have Oksana Filonenko, who's head of the Free People Employment Center in Ukraine. Oksana has over 10 years of management experience in foreign companies and organization of international events. She's a specialist in veteran vocational reintegration and has contributed to high-level policy discussions regarding reservist laws and rehabilitation processes. The Free People Employment Center, probably say a few words about that, but it's a non-profit organization in Ukraine that provides professional support and retraining to individuals affected by military conflict, political repression, or economic hardship. Welcome, Oksana. Sitting next to Oksana, we have Victor Liak, I hope I pronounce it correctly, who is the president of the East Europe Foundation in Ukraine. Right. Victor joined the foundation in 2008 as executive director and was in charge of program management and relations with donors. And in 2012, he was appointed president of the foundation. Previously, from 2005 to 2008, Victor was executive director of the Child Wellbeing Fund in Ukraine. And maybe you'll tell us more about yourself in a minute. The East Europe Foundation is one of Ukraine's leading non-profit organizations, established in 2007 as the local successor to the Eurasia Foundation, and it focuses on transforming Ukraine into a modern, innovative state by strengthening civil society, fostering e-democracy, and supporting local community resilience. Welcome, Victor. And finally is Liga Klavina, who is Deputy State Secretary at the Ministry of Finance of Latvia and alternate governor at EBRD. Liga has been Deputy State Secretary on Financial Policy Issues at the Ministry of Finance since March 2013. Ms. Klavina is an alternate member of the Nordic Investment Bank's Board of Directors, a director at the ESM, the European Stability Mechanism, and an alternate governor at EBRD, as just said. And she is a big supporter of Ukraine. So with that, before we start asking the questions, we have to do a very short introduction for the visually impaired and just say one sentence or two about how we look like. Starting from me, as I said, my name is Lorenzo. I am 180 centimeters tall. Unfortunately, over the last few years, I lost most of my hair, but to compensate, I grew a nice beard. And today, for the occasion, I wear a blue tie, which, as my boss will tell you, is a very rare occasion. Nadia, over to you.
Very good. How do I beat that? So, Nadia Petkova, I'm 170. I have two different eyes. One is green, one is brown. And my mom discovered that only when I was around 30 years old, that I have two different eyes. 5 years ago, I decided to stop straightening my hair. So now it's curly. So here am I.
Hello, everyone. My name is Oksana Filonenko, and what I basically do is help people affected by war to turn trauma into professional growth. But on a personal note, I recently discovered gardening, and I love it, and I find it very supportive in uncertain times, because one thing which I know for certain, if I plant flowers, flowers will grow. And I'm wearing my vyshyvanka, as I always do in important moment in my life. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Victor Liach. I'm a tall guy wearing navy blue suit and wearing white shirt. I'm trying to style my hair, but I didn't manage because of rainy weather. I'm a bit sleepy, need to say, and try to compensate this with a lot of coffee in this morning. And I'm surrounded by futuristic blue and white light around, which probably could match my blue eyes. Thank you.
You missed the most important part. You have fantastic socks.
Thank you.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Liga, and welcome to Riga. I'm 1.70 meters. At some point in my life, I wanted to be much taller, but now I'm okay with that. Today is Saturday, but I'm still wearing the black suit, as this is very important meeting for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this nice introduction. So let's start the conversation, and let me start with Nadia with the first question. So EBRD often describe civil society as a key partner for what we do. So from your perspective, what do you think makes engaging with civil society especially valuable in complex, in general, but in complex context like Ukraine?
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Lorenzo. So you said it right. So for us, civil societies are not only stakeholders, they are partners. And they are very important partners for the bank, because what they provide us with is the deep local knowledge, which complements our knowledge, because as you know, EBRD is present in all our countries of operations with offices. But the depth of the local knowledge which civil societies can bring to us is invaluable. Also, they bring the trust with communities, which is very important for our public sector, but also private sector projects, and real credibility to our operations. What is changing, and importantly, what is strengthening, is that we are increasing our work and engagement with civil societies, bringing them on early on in our processes. In our civil society engagement approach, 2024-29, reflects exactly this shift. It commits us to earlier, but importantly, more systematic and more operational engagement with civil society. And I'll say a little bit more, because I think it's important to picture that. How we engage is on two main levels. One is the more strategic level, where civil society have been invaluable partners for us, helping us design better our strategies and our approach to the countries where we operate. Also help us have stronger alignment and much more contextual alignment of our strategic priorities, which are human capital, green transition, and governance, and bringing it to the local context, but also help us build greater trust locally. So this is at the big picture level. And how do we do that? We do that with a lot of engagements when we design our strategies, as public consultations, high-level meetings, donor coordination activities, but also stakeholder engagement plans. The other level, which is very important and very close to my heart, is in terms of how do we bring this strategic engagement to the level of project engagement, and how do we work with civil societies at the project level, is exactly that, in engaging civil societies early on in our processes when we design projects, to design the projects, to deliver and monitor the projects in many, and I'll give a few examples, how do we do that, for example, in the context of Ukraine, but also to strengthen our accountability. And specifically in Ukraine, the importance of our work with the civil societies and the civil societies themselves, their role has been amplified. Why? Because Ukraine is a country at war, which has been at war for 4 years, which is a very, very long period of time for communities, for people, morally for people to sustain that. So civil societies play a crucial role in that respect. So EBRD has mobilized very substantial support in the context of Ukraine. We have financed more than 10 billion, but financing is not everything. Engaging community in that is very, very important. And that's why our work with civil societies in Ukraine is particularly important. Just to bring it to life with few examples. So CSOs in Ukraine actually help us deliver a very important program for us, which is the Veteran Reintegration Program. We are supporting veterans' transition back to civil employment. I know Oksana and the Free People Employment Center is working with our private clients, notably with Naftogaz, Oko, Ukrzheleznica, to support veterans' reintegration and address human capital challenges. CSOs in Ukraine also have supported EBRD's gender-focused program in Ukraine, including training and inclusion initiatives for women in sectors where women participation is not so obvious. For example, with Ukрhydroenergo, one would say these jobs are more for men, but actually that's exactly what we have worked with CSOs to achieve, to have inclusive policies in Ukrhydroenergo for them to be able to employ also women. And also the women training program, which we have with Data Volia Group, which is delivered by NGO Pislezavtra. So these are few examples which I just wanted to bring to life in terms of how our engagement with CSOs, particularly in Ukraine, has been.
Thank you very much, Nadia, and maybe we'll have a chance to get back to this later. Let me now turn to Oksana. Your work has already been mentioned also by Nadia, and as we were saying, civil society has played and still plays a crucial role in Ukraine's resilience during the war. I want to ask you, when you think about your work and your engagement with EBRD, but also with other partners, can you share some lessons learned, examples of how that engagement has made a real difference on the ground in these very difficult times?
Thank you. Thank you for the important question. But I like to start with 3 things which brought me here today. It's 10 years experience of in veteran reintegration field. It's 2 days journey from Kyiv, and huge gratitude to everyone who supports Ukraine. It's very, very really important for us. And desire to share our expertise, our experience to contribute in global safety. And back to the question, Ukraine shows that civil society plays a key, essential role in wartime. Civil society organizations respond more quickly and adapt more flexibly than larger institutions. At the same time, at the scale as Ukraine, we can achieve long-term results only when we work together, civil society organization, international partner, government, business, and I'd like to give you some numbers and some context. Maybe now we are defending 1,200 kilometers of front line every day. And just this week, on Monday, Russia launched more than 700 drones and missiles in a single night. So when you saw me in conference and I scroll in the phone, I'm not on Facebook, I scroll in if my children in the shelter, I'm mother of 3. So we build resilience in wartime is the key. It is no past-war story in wartime. That is why our experience absolutely different in veterans reintegration topic as well. And now Ukraine has around 2 million veterans, already 2 million veterans, not who served in the army, but who were returned. And that number could reach 5 million out of 12 million of total workforce. So from our experience in some companies, up to 30% of workforce either serving or has already returned. And at that scale, veterans reintegration is no longer a social project or something for social corporate responsibility. It's about whether company can function at all. And one of the biggest shifts we've been pushing is the veteran journey has to become a part of employee journey. From mobilization, not from demobilization, even earlier from preparing for mobilization, through mobilization, demobilization, and long-term development. And that's why we reshape corporate processes and help companies build their own internal expertise to stay function after we leave, after our project. Let you give me one example. Nadia mentioned it. We partnered with EBRD to work with Naftogaz, one of the largest employers in Ukraine, over 100,000 people and critical infrastructure. And we attract 5 partners from different fields. And we create the so-called support model. So we build expertise for strategic level, build internal trainers and case managers community who finally taught 1,000 veterans coordinators who support veterans daily, directly day by day. And today, Naftogaz continue to independently implement and improve the system and has the capacity to support thousands of its veterans. And this is where partnership made a real difference. And EBRD support allowed us to move from helping individuals one by one to actually changing system in big companies. And I would also like to highlight something I believe is incredibly important. Veterans are actually reshaping the labor market in Ukraine, pushing companies to think differently about resilience and inclusion. The many veterans who returned now have disabilities. So they pushed company to change to make accessibility audits. Back to the Naftogaz case, we taught the case management how to implement case management approach, which basically used in social work, how it used and implement in companies for reintegration veterans with disabilities. Because actually in 2017, for example, Ukraine, the people with disability employability rate in Ukraine was just 15%. So, and now I think things are getting better. And the last point I want to share, And it is maybe key our approach in our work. Veterans are not just people we need to support. They can contribute in economy and business development. So we help both companies and veterans recognize military experience not only through the lens of trauma, but also through the lens of professional skills, hard and soft skills. They bring analytical thinking, leadership, responsibility, decision-making under pressure, technical skills, and it's very important in civilian career pathway for them and for companies as well. And once again, I want to thank you for the support, and I would like to end with a short video showing our work in Ukraine and the people we support.
Thank you.
І виросте оновлена троянда, і пеньки зламаних дерев проростуть бадьоро і натхненно. І ти навчиш мене знову любити це життя. Життя затятого та срібленого світника, садолюба і садомління. Це буде, обіцяю, я повернуся. Тільки дочекайся мене, мій саде. Я перепрошую.
Thank you very much also for this video. Back to the conversation, Victor, you also have, of course, a lot of experience working in Ukraine, and you will tell us a bit about that. But I also wanted to ask you, when looking at across these case studies like those from Ukraine, what do you think broader systemic lessons emerge for more impactful, more effective engagement with civil society across the region and beyond?
Thank you, Lorenzo. Definitely, this is one of the questions. We would like to have continuous feedback and see our reflections, how Ukraine, through civil society organizations and civil society sector as a whole, could manage to survive through the war and could even start developing and build up innovations which are now striking the world. I just wanted to elaborate more on the context which was presented in the film. You probably have seen tremendous changes and challenges we have at the moment. 6 million plus refugees living abroad, 4+ million IDPs. And that war is the most innovative war in the history of humankind. We see most advanced technologies used against us, but as a response, Ukraine also produces innovations how to address these humanitarian challenges we have. And definitely civil society is one of the key elements of Ukraine's resilience and defense. Definitely we are saying everybody is volunteer since 2022, since the full-scale invasion. And rapid growth of civil society could be described as 10% a year growth of number of registered civil society organizations. That means that Ukrainians already tried and tested the feeling, and they have positive experience in uniting together with those people around and doing something for country, addressing either issues related to social inclusion, rehabilitation, reskilling, social integration in the community development, but also we extend the number of different kind of activities we've been involved. Civil society organizations now are involved in the training of rescue volunteers, for example, or civil society organizations joined the medical training. We have civil society organizations which are doing rehabilitation work or raising awareness about landmines. So here, I just wanted to say that first, the quality of civil society organizations extended really enormously as civil society organizations converted from a watchdog function, kind of more supervising or addressing issues related to transparency, corruption, etc. But now, many civil society organizations, they are partners to local communities, municipalities, other civil society organizations addressing variety of challenges we have in country. A number, I really like to see that the high dynamic of growing organizations year by year. And again, telling you that this is the most innovative war, I just wanted to say that definitely Ukraine produces innovations, and I'm really glad that more civil society organizations, they are acting as innovators, and they're working close to the government. Just probably you've heard about the tremendous success of Ukraine in the area of digitalization. Just to give you some figures, there is a UN e-government development index, which is conducted once per 2 years. In 2024, Ukraine holds a position of number 5 in the world on e-services, and we demonstrated positive dynamic of raising going up to 27 points. And we are number 1 in the world on e-participation. And we made progress of 57 positions up during the war. Just to imagine that Ukrainians are developing innovations while being under shelling, experiencing blackouts, etc. So that's probably, I'm coming to one particular lessons that keep innovating in the most difficult situations. Even only in this case, you are able to produce innovations of the highest possible level. One of the sample I would like to present and show to you is a platform for reskilling, which was developed by the Ministry of Digital Transformation, by Google and East Europe Foundation, which is very much resonates with addressing all these issues Oksana presented to you. This is a reskilling program, platform which combines different kind of tests, AI tools, which provides those people who would like to get a new profession with professional and skills-based training course online. Then we have motivational video, and then a person finishes and receives certificate during the study, he or she receives all vacancies in her or his particular city for this particular profession. So we did it with Google, and Google considered this platform as the most innovative job searching / reskilling platform in the world. So these kind of, we have a number of these kind of samples which are really in place, and here Ukraine would like to share that with the world. And definitely I'm sure that the case of Ukrainian resilience will be described in the textbooks of civil society development, etc. And probably another lesson I would like to share with you from my personal experience, definitely in the first day of war, we wanted to think how we can contribute to society and what we can do together. We tried different kind of work. Definitely we started to bring to Ukraine humanitarian aid, but then we started to support other civil society, understood that first, in partnership, you can do much more, and definitely network of partners is a wonderful resource you can apply to all activities during all possible crisis situations. And I wanted to share another lesson with you, which this is a phrase which our board members say to us: in a time of the crisis, concentrate on the things you do best. And we concentrate on the things we do best. We produce innovations, and you can see here as Ukraine is blooming with a lot of innovations, different kind of solutions like Donor UA, which is blood transfusion network of blood donors, and we connected them with blood transfusion centers. We have CRM for volunteers, for example, available, developed by business and available for civil society organizations. We have payments which are going automatically to your virtual business, virtual card in your smartphone if you're qualified as a person for certain payments for the government. These are innovations we would like to share with the world, and definitely, again, Ukraine is a good case on how to be resilient, how to be innovative during the hardest possible circumstances. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Victor. Very, very interesting also on the role of innovation that civil society organizations can bring. So now we've heard from EBRD, we've heard from civil society organizations working on the ground. I think it's going to be very interesting to hear the perspective from a government official like you, Liga. And again, I'm going to ask you a question based on your experience engaging with civil society. What do you think that makes successful civil society engagement materialize? How would you define success for engagement with civil society from a government perspective? And if you could answer the question, sharing some examples from your experience where collaboration in Latvia between government and civil society has led to meaningful impact, and what are the factors that actually drove this impact?
Yes, Lorenzo, thank you very much for this question, but as I'm coming from the host country, let me start with the warm welcome here in Latvia and expressing the sincere appreciation for the possibility to host this annual meeting here in Riga. and a business forum as well. And engagement with the civil society is a very important part of this program. And I think we all highly value this dialogue with the civil society and their organization. And turning to your question, of course, coming from the public sector, from the Ministry of Finance, I can share how we, working in the ministry, are engaging with the civil society organizations, what is the processes and what are, as you said, the most good outcomes of this engagement. And one joke we have here in Latvia, if like 2 Latvians are speaking, the 3 NGOs are merging. But more seriously, I'd say today, when we look on the policy design, legislative process, it's impossible to actually start to draft a policy strategy or legislation without the engagement with the civil society organizations, and not just ones, but different sector-wise, or that's a law. I would say that's even more. If you are drafting like impact assessment, you should not talk just with the civil society representatives and organizations, but you also actually have to show which organizations have you consulted, what are their views, and if you are probably on the different views, that you consider those views, but you see that the way you are chosen is much better in this case. And of course, that shows that this dialogue is already at the beginning of every, I would say, policy document, legislation. And when we look, of course, from the public sector side, for us is much easier to, I would say from my side, that much easier to talk with 1, 2 organizations. And that's what we also see from the NGO sectors, that of course also here in Latvia, they are more merging between themselves. I think that a very good example is Finance Latvia, who actually consolidated many financial sector civil society organizations. Of course, it's not just for us easier, but it's also standard for those organizations that internally they are also having a lot of discussions and come to some unified views on different policy strategies or legislation. And when we talk about the process, I would also mention that here we even have like legislative prescription, for example, in different consultative bodies that you have to include civil society representatives. And they, of course, if there are more of them, they are rotate, but that's show that this is quite substantially in all the governance structure, how the public sector, how the line ministries are working on the policy strategies. And of course, at some point, we are very prescriptive in our legislation. And when you are trying to engage with everyone who are interested, at some point you see that it might slow down the process. But when you have those civil society organizations in this process, you see that at some point there is a maturity when the outcomes are much better than probably without this engagement. And this is, I think, a previous speaker also mentioned crisis. Of course, in crisis situation, you also see that its engagement is much deeper, and those things that you can do in a crisis, it's probably you can't do, like, I don't know, in normal circumstances. That's why I would say it might slow down at some point. We use usually crisis as a very good point how to, this engagement outcomes are much better. And of course, from the Ministry of Finance side, I would mention tax reform, like simplification of tax reform, governance of the state-owned companies, public procurement. Every area have this engagement, and of course, with this engagement, at least from our side, we see that the outcomes are much, much better.
Thank you very much. Again, very, very interesting remarks. I think I do have a bit of time to ask you a follow-up question, and then we'll turn to the audience. Maybe let me go back to you, Nadia and Oksana, if you wish. I think one of the things we've heard that is very important is that civil society organizations are moving from this watchdog role, or from this role in which they are consulted by government or international financial institutions like ours, really to partners, right? What it's also described as a move from consultation to co-creation, co-delivery, partnership, right? So I'm asking you, from an IFI, DFI perspective like EBRD, what needs to, or what is already, as you were alluding to, changing to make this shift? What needs to change? What kind of new processes or cultural behaviors we need to introduce to really see and shift to this collaboration, partnership with civil society?
No, thank you very much, Lorenzo, and I think you alluded to some of the things which I wanted to touch upon. So I think the paradigm is shifting. I think the watchdog stance and understanding for the different stakeholders, the watchdog stance and positioning of the NGOs and CSOs is moving and it's changing, and it's the right thing to do, because let's face it, it's far too late in the process of anything, whether it's a project, whether it's a strategy. When things really go bad, only then they come to us and we try to damage control. It's much easier when we co-create, we actually gather these inputs, as you said, including at the governmental level, in terms of from civil societies, co-create. We look at what are the risks early on in the process, how do we mitigate them, how do we address them with our projects, and with our engagements in general, and do that together. It's a cultural shift, let's face it, and it's not only a cultural shift for MDBs. Maybe for MDBs, to some extent, like EBRD, will be easier because impact is really in our veins, and we look from that perspective. But for the entire commercial world, will be probably a cultural shift. And that's why governments, as well as MDBs like us, have a role to play in order to set the tone in the right way. CSOs and NGOs need to become partners because we have the same aim. We look, I mean, you're head of the director for our impact team. We look at what our engagement with governments, with projects have in terms of in long term. What are the long-lasting changes? We have impact in mind. The same is in minds of the CSOs. They want to achieve, want to see what will be the impact of any interventions which we as MDBs, but also other players make. So for me, it's early on engagement, co-creation, do it in a systematic way, and work with including with our bankers, to embed that in our processes, as we have already started doing at EBRD a while ago, but we need to make it in a more systematic way. So, and it goes hand in hand with the impact. How are we going to achieve impact if the societies don't come along? It's not going to happen. So it's critical and it's important. And I just want to touch very briefly on what Victor and Oksana were saying and were talking about. We have learned so much ourselves from our experience in Ukraine, and as you said, in such difficult times, innovation thrives. You understand what we have. One of our transition qualities, resilience in the bank. You understand what resilience in action means, and we innovate our products, and we actually look at different way of how we engage with civil societies. That's why in Ukraine we started pioneering working with civil societies as when we create projects, you help us shape our policies, you work with our clients. So for me, this is a win-win-win, ultimately a win-win-win for the entire society. So thank you very much for the cooperation so far. We are really looking forward to doing more together in Ukraine.
Thank you, Nadia. Sana.
Thank you, Nadia, for this important inputs. What I like to add, but maybe I start from our story cooperation with EBRD, when in February 2022, like all my team become like our target audience. Some part of team became refugees, some of us became internally displaced, some went to the armed force, and so on, so on. But in maybe in 1 or 2 months, we already made a strategic session and start to think what we had to do in this scale. And the main question was how we can scale our experience in the field, on the ground, how we can how we can scale it. We discovered different business model, how we can do this. And one of them was put our experience to give it to the business. And this story was, I think, successful now with EBRD support. And I see the partnership in our cooperation, really partnership. We really not switch. We do both now. We support individuals one by one because we keep our expertise on the ground, yeah, and building expertise in the company, in large company, we see the real result from this cooperation and very happy about it. And what I'd like to add, except Nadia said, it's maybe from different donors, business, it's attitude. Shift to attitude, because even at this forum, when I speak and meet someone from business, NGO, okay. So it's I recognize that this experience is important and co-creation, cooperation, and shift this attitude. And I think it's about experience, and it's about information as well. So we need from both parts more inform about what civil society do. Exactly. And one more lessons learned. It's recently I was in the conference in Kyiv, Ukrainian leadership and emergency support, and it was one important thing that if regarding inclusion topic and people with disability inclusion, and if we want inclusion, we shouldn't or we haven't organize inclusion forums or maybe separate some civil society events. So we can have to include it in business panel with business panel speakers, exactly. Change our experience and involve business more and show them how we can cooperate. So information, co-creation, and attitude.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Oksana. I want to ask very quickly, because I want to also give the floor to the audience, but very quickly, Liga and Victor, because you touched upon, on one side, the role that civil society organization can have as innovators, right? And I think this is, new ideas, also referring to the joke, right? You have one people, one idea, and so I think this is very important to have this innovation attitude. On the other side, you talk about how you institutionalize processes and how you actually foster consolidation in order to scale up and to increase the role and the prominence of civil society. Do you think there is a tension here between between the role of civil society as innovators on one side and the need to consolidate in order to become, really credible partner for governments. And do you think there is a potential issue that with trust that these civil society organizations have from the public when they engage more closely with government and when they institutionalize in a way?
Thank you. This is a wonderful question, wonderful dilemma where you would need to go. But first, I just wanted to respond to Liga's comment, where 2 Latvians, 3 NGOs, right? So I checked internet and it says Latvia has the highest rate of NGOs per capita. So for every 60 Latvians, there is one NGO. We dream wonderful. Thank you very much. That's a wonderful sample how society can be together, how can be horizontally integrated and be build horizontal partnerships. In Ukraine, definitely we need to work on. We have 250 to 300 people per organization, but definitely we will go ahead with that. And again, talking about this dilemma, either to work with the government or to work separately and the trust, I think that Ukraine will be a wonderful example how proactive work of civil society organizations and partnership networks build trust for civil society organizations. 60% of Ukrainians trust civil society organizations and 80% of Ukrainians trust volunteers. So that means probably that next election, somebody from volunteering sector will be a president, most probably that will be the case of highest possible trust. And definitely working with the government became more natural as government for the whole history of Ukraine, and I'm coming here with more than 20 years working in the civil society sector and can see that government now is we are in the phase of most response and partnership level of the government to civil society organizations. And this is a kind of avenue with both directions. For example, you can register civil society organization online and you can start operating tomorrow. And we have a national platform where you can apply online for funding for civil society organizations from the government even now with a limited budget. So this is a way how civil society and the government work together. And definitely I couldn't say the brightest example than government accepts electronic services, for example, developed by civil society organization, or Ukrainian procurement system called Prozoro, one of the best in the world, and they are applying to their everyday procedures, and they are applying as a part of government structure. This is a wonderful example how Ukrainian civil society organizations showing their professionalism, innovations, they are cooperating with the government and they are produce additional value for the society as a whole.
Thank you very much. I'll give you 1 minute because I want to check with the audience if they have the question.
Not much to add what Victor said, but of course I very much agree to this dilemma. And I think that what we are seeing, that those new ideas, of course, it's quite hard to start a new organization just on some innovative ideas, but trying probably to reach through some more broader associations, I don't know, employees confederation or more prominent already existing associations. That is something what we are witnessed in a cooperation with those. But yeah, I think that's a big challenge from sector side, but also from the government side, to see those cooperative partners, to actually not miss those innovations that might emerge from those discussions.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So we have not so much time, but maybe ask a couple of questions. Yes, I think there should be microphones in the room. We have to close in. I have a watch, clock in front of me, 6 minutes. So please.
Okay. Спасибо большое. Очень впечатлена выступлениями всех панелистов. У меня вопрос к госпоже Петковой. Очень приятно, что EBRD планирует стратегию,
the new strategy. And having listened to Oksana, Elena, and having listened to Victor, and I have this question in Uzbekistan. we are developing creative economy very quickly. We're digitalizing our country fast. We're training our women so that women will be opening their own businesses using digitalization. Does EBRD plan to support any partnerships and projects, for instance, in cooperation with Latvia, projects in cooperation with Ukraine in that area? Because that is very important. I'm very much impressed by what Victor has said. We know that Ukraine is at war, but still Ukraine is so innovative. We do have our own innovations as well, and we would like to run some joint projects with the support of EBRD and to create a network of organizations where we will have Central Asian organizations working together with Eastern European organizations. And such projects will be definitely supported by our government organizations, but it will also boost further support by the government for our NGOs.
One of the things which we at EBRD are very good at is exactly fostering this exchange of experience between the different countries where we operate. And we can do more. And what Ukraine has taught us all a lot in terms of innovative ideas and innovative solutions, and what Victor, you were explaining about how the government trusts now more the CSOs and can work more. I think this experience needs to be transmitted. At EBRD, we bring countries together in order to exchange experience. And for example, in the context of what we have learned, for example, in the Baltics, in our work, let's say, on the inclusion side, because you mentioned inclusion, what we learn in the Baltics and in Central Europe, we transmit as an experience, let's say, to the Western Balkans or to North Africa, and we want to do more of that also. The exchange of ideas between the different countries is very, very important. And joint projects, especially when it comes to how do we work better with different stakeholders, we can definitely do, and we are doing it across different countries, so we can do more. Our office in Tashkent is, you know where it is. We have a big office there. We have a big team which deals only with advice for small business, for example, advice for women in business, which can exchange and give you more ideas about that. But exchanging and organizing joint events is something that we can foster and organize, and we'll be very happy to in terms of exchange of ideas.
Thank you very much. There's time for,
Lorenzo,
maybe.
Can I?
Yeah, but we have to finish in 3 minutes. So let me collect maybe another question, and then I'll give you the floor just for the conclusion.
I'll be very quick. And actually, I'm sort of supporting my colleague's point that one of the things that struck me at the last annual meeting, the chair of Novoposhta was there, and he said now they need to work with the understanding that their clients may not have arms and may not have legs. And Ukraine has been through such an extreme test of resilience. And these sorts of things are forcing extreme innovations. And I just want to say as well to Nadia, the same point. Yeah. Please let us share these solutions across the region with other countries, because this hasn't happened before. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maybe there's another, But you see in front of me, right? 2 minutes. And I was told that we have to stay within the limit. Go ahead, please.
Hello, my name is Tatiana Mikhailova, and I represent the Automobile Club of Moldova, but also the UK charity Eastern Alliance for Safe and Sustainable Transport. So we are 15 countries from Ukraine, Armenia, Moldova, Azerbaijan, Georgia, and so on. And because I'm from Moldova and I have my colleague and friend from Ukraine, I couldn't ask one question. Thank you very much for your presentations. So in the context of Ukraine's recovery and broader regional resilience, what role do you see for civil society organizations in Ukraine and Moldova in ensuring that reconstruction efforts are not only fast and efficient, but also inclusive, safe and sustainable in the perspective of road corridors between our countries?
Thank you. So again, we literally have 1 minute, so I'll give you very quickly the floor to answer the question and share.
Let me start first. Definitely thank you very much for this question. I would say bring resources as local as possible. resources meaning finances, opportunities for building capacity, learning opportunities, etc. Give possibility for network on local level, but also on regional level and international level. That will be my suggestions for that, and keep innovate.
Thank you. Iga, and then Oksana.
Oksana, you want?
And I just want to add that we already now in the process in negotiations with EBRD Polish office and Polish NGO and our NGO to create a program in Polish together and to change our experience. Yeah. And I think you are on the way to respond. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Iga,
Just as we are out of the time, I very much agree with Victor on this.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think we managed to stay in time, and there's not much more to say from me than thank you for a very excellent conversation. I personally learned a lot. So thank you so much, and thank you also for our audience for attending and contributing to the conversation. Thank you very much.